Ben and Olivia had been married for many years and had a beautiful daughter named Anne. Olivia was a hardworking woman with a well-paying job at a big company. She was the sole provider for their family because Ben refused to work. He was a lazy man who depended entirely on Olivia's earnings. Despite this, Olivia loved her husband deeply. She believed that Ben loved her just as much. He always acted like the perfect husband. He showered her with attention, played with her, told her funny stories, and made her laugh. Olivia was convinced that she was the luckiest woman alive. She never suspected that Ben's love was not for her, but for the money she provided. Olivia gave him everything he needed. She made sure he never lacked anything, always giving him money for his expenses. She was proud of him and spoke highly of her husband to friends and family. Their daughter, Anne, grew up in a home filled with what she believed was love and happiness. She admired her parents' relationship. To her, they were the perfect couple. Ben often called Anne to sit beside him and spoke about her mother. "Anne, your mother is the best thing that has ever happened to me. I can't live without her," he would say with a big smile. Anne, being young and innocent, admired her father's words. "Dad, I want to marry a man who will love and cherish me the way you love and cherish Mom. I want a husband who will care for me just as you care for her," she said dreamily. Ben smiled and patted her head. "My daughter, the man who will marry you will love you even more than I love your mother. I will make sure of that," he assured her. Anne beamed with happiness. She wrapped her arms around her father and said, "Thank you, Dad. I am so lucky to have you as my father. In my next life, I want you to be my father again." Ben laughed and hugged her back, pretending to be the perfect husband and father. But deep inside, he knew the truth. He wasn't in love with Olivia. He was in love with the comfort her money gave him. And Olivia? She had no idea. She was too blinded by love to see what was really happening. At her workplace, Olivia sat with her colleagues during lunch break, smiling proudly as she spoke about her husband, Ben. "My husband is the best thing that has ever happened to me," she said, beaming with happiness. "He does everything for me. He washes my clothes, cooks for me, and even does the shopping. He goes to the market, buys everything we need, and comes back home to prepare delicious meals. By the time I return from work, he has already made dinner, served it on the table, and sometimes he even feeds me with his own hands." Her colleagues listened in amazement, their eyes wide with admiration. They couldn't believe that such a caring and loving husband existed. "Wow, Olivia, you are so lucky," one of her friends said, sighing. "I wish my husband would treat me like that. Instead, I have to come home after work and still cook, clean, and take care of everything." Another colleague added, "Men like your husband are rare. I pray that one day my husband will start treating me the way Ben treats you." Olivia laughed happily. "I am truly blessed. Even if Ben asked for my whole salary, I wouldn't hesitate to give it to him. I love him so much." Her friends nodded in admiration, secretly wishing they had a husband like Ben. To them, Olivia had a perfect marriage. Meanwhile, at home, their daughter Anne was just as proud of her father. She often told her friends, "My dad loves my mom so much. He takes such good care of her. He always tells me that my mother is the best thing that has ever happened to him." One evening, while sitting with her mother, Anne looked up and said, "Mom, you are so lucky to have a husband like Dad. I hope to marry a man just like him someday." Olivia smiled warmly and held her daughter's hands. "Yes, my dear, Ben is a wonderful husband. If I could marry him over and over again, I would do it without thinking twice." Anne grinned. "That's exactly how I feel about Dad. He is the best father in the world. In my next life, I still want him to be my father." Ben, who was listening nearby, smiled and pretended to be deeply touched. But deep inside, he knew the truth. He wasn't the loving husband they thought he was. He was only staying because of Olivia's money. While Olivia and Anne believed they were living in a perfect home filled with love and happiness, the reality was different. And soon, the truth would begin to unfold. Anne was a bright and cheerful girl, always full of love and admiration for her parents. She believed she had the perfect family, a hardworking mother, and a loving father. But one fateful day, her world shattered before her very eyes. That afternoon, Anne's school dismissed earlier than usual due to an unexpected event. Excited to surprise her father, she hurried home, eager to tell him about her day. She entered the house with a smile, calling out, "Dad, I'm home early." Hearing no response, she walked toward her parents' bedroom, a place she had always known as a sanctuary of love and peace. But as she pushed the door open, what she saw made her heart stop. There, on her parents' bed, was her father, Ben, with another woman. Anne froze in place, her innocent mind struggling to process the betrayal before her. Ben's face turned pale with shock. He never expected Anne to return home so early. He had been doing this for years, bringing different women into his matrimonial bed, while his wife worked tirelessly to provide for him. He always made sure to clear all evidence before Olivia and Anne returned home. But today, his secret had been exposed. The woman, horrified by the situation, grabbed her clothes and ran out of the house, leaving Ben alone with his daughter. "Anne, this is not what it looks like," Ben stammered, stepping toward her. But Anne was trembling, tears filling her innocent eyes. "Dad, how could you?" she whispered. Ben panicked. If Anne told Olivia everything he had built, the lies, the manipulation, the comfort of Olivia's wealth would crumble. He had to silence her. In a moment of desperation, he lunged at Anne, grabbing her by the shoulders. "You can't tell your mother," he said, his voice trembling with fear. Anne struggled, trying to break free, but Ben, overcome by his own guilt and panic, pushed her too hard. Her head hit the wall with a sickening thud. Anne's small body collapsed to the floor. Blood pooled around her head. Ben stood frozen, his hands shaking. "No, no, no!" he gasped, kneeling beside his lifeless daughter. He hadn't meant to kill her. He only wanted to stop her from talking. But it was too late. Anne was gone. Terrified of what would happen if Olivia found out, Ben quickly wrapped Anne's body in a cloth and carried her out to the backyard. Digging a shallow grave with his bare hands, he buried his daughter, erasing all traces of his crime. When Olivia returned home that evening, she found Ben sitting on the couch, his eyes red and swollen from fake tears. "Ben, where is Anne?" she asked, looking around. Ben sniffled, pretending to be devastated. "Olivia, Anne never came home from school. I've looked everywhere, but I can't find her," he lied. "I don't know where she went." Olivia gasped, her heart pounding. "What? No, that can't be. Anne always comes straight home. We need to go to the police." Ben held her hands tightly, shaking his head. "Let's wait until tomorrow. Maybe she'll return." Olivia was frantic, but she trusted her husband. She agreed to wait, hoping Anne would come back home safely. That night, as Ben lay in bed, a cold wind swept through the room. The lights flickered, and suddenly he felt a heavy presence in the room. He opened his eyes, and there, standing at the foot of the bed, was Anne. Her white dress was stained with blood, her eyes dark and hollow. "Dad," her voice echoed, chilling the air. Ben screamed, his body trembling in fear. "Anne, I didn't mean to." Anne stepped closer, her ghostly form growing stronger. "Tell Mom the truth," she commanded. Ben fell to his knees, weeping. "Please, forgive me." But Anne's ghost only stared at him with cold, lifeless eyes. Unable to take the torment, Ben ran into Olivia's room and fell at her feet, sobbing uncontrollably. "Olivia, forgive me. I killed Anne. I killed our daughter," he wailed. Olivia gasped, stepping back in horror. What are you saying?" Ben, shaking and terrified, confessed everything. His years of infidelity, how he used Olivia's money to chase women, how he deceived her into thinking he loved her, and worst of all, how he killed their only child to protect his lies. Olivia fell to her knees, screaming in agony. "No, not my Anne." The moment Ben finished confessing, Anne's ghost raised her hand. A sudden force struck Ben's chest, and he collapsed, gasping for breath. Within seconds, his lifeless body lay still. Olivia watched in shock, unable to move. Anne turned to her mother, her ghostly figure now peaceful. "Mom, I love you," she whispered before disappearing into the night. Tears streamed down Olivia's face as she held her chest, feeling an unbearable pain. She had lost everything: her daughter, her illusions of love, and the man she once trusted. Days later, Olivia gave Anne a proper burial, honoring her daughter's short but beautiful life. With nothing left for her in that house filled with painful memories, Olivia made a decision. She packed her bags and left for the United States, hoping to start a new life. But one thing was certain: she would never love again. She vowed to live in Anne's memory for the rest of her life. As she boarded her flight, she whispered to herself, "Anne, my love, I will carry you in my heart forever." And with that, she left her past behind, stepping into a future unknown. Moral lessons. 1. True love is not about material things. Olivia believed Ben loved her, but he was only in love with her money. Be careful of people who love you for what you have, not for who you are. 2. Secrets and lies will always come to light. No matter how long you hide the truth, it will always be revealed. 3. Greed and deception lead to destruction. Ben's greed and dishonesty not only cost him his daughter but also his own life. 4. Trust your instincts. Olivia ignored the signs, trusting Ben blindly. Always be aware of red flags in relationships. 5. A mother's love is eternal. Despite everything, Olivia's greatest pain was losing Anne. A mother's love never fades. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this story and learned something from it. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an exciting story. Stay tuned for more thrilling and emotional stories. See you in the next story.